fucking app. Holy shit. Been going on for like 10, 15 fucking minutes. And, oh yeah, not actually going off or anything. Not actually live or whatever the fuck. Yeah, thanks a lot, you fucking worthless app. Piece of shit. Fuck. God fucking damn, dude. Fucking technology being worthless, fucking shit, glitchy piece of shit. Fuck. Fucking yeah. Spurs human. Yeah, just give me a fucking minute. How about that? Like, holy shit. I've been, like, talking off about, like, 10 minutes, just chilling, and didn't realize, not been going off and shit, because this retarded fucking app decided to not, like, make sure that things are proper or whatever the fuck, like it normally does. And yes, I have, and I got a lot of fucking thoughts to say about that shit, and pussy faggot liberals that want to think that, peace is only an option when it comes to shit like that. I got fucking thoughts, okay? Like, and now I'm really pissed off because this worthless, shitty fucking, phone is worthless, shitty technology that barely works for a fuck because of capitalistic planned obsolescence and make sure that things break down more and fucking more every fucking day just so you can waste more of your fucking money on, their capitalistic fucking unfettered bullshit. Where a fucking bunch of Nazi scum could go try to fucking, make their fucking moves, and yet this is the shit I gotta worry about. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, I was already kinda in the mood this morning, and now I'm just really am in a fucking mood. Bro, nah, I'm not even out of burn it all to the ground. I'm just more of like, sick of pussyfooting shit. Like, that's really what I'm sick of. Like, just straight up. On top of just, this phone being fucking retarded. Anyway, I'm just fucking... Literally going on for like 15 fucking minutes, being here like, oh yeah, just hanging, just hanging out, being like, alright, let's see what, like, grab coffee, see what's, going on, and, blah, 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 why ain't anything happening, usually people, like, I was literally kind of like, is YouTube just being retarded? And of course, I hit you up, and they're like, wait, which one? I immediately knew what you meant. I went, oh my fucking god. And of course, I check, on my channels directly, and of course, there's like 3 fucking streams, and none of them are on. Not gonna put some food around on this. Me neither. No, I'm not either. Like, I know what you're talking about, and know that I sure fucking ain't either. Like, and I'm dead ass fucking sick of people being pussyfooty around shit. When it comes to this type of stuff. Because I plan to fucking win when it comes to certain things, and I ain't gonna let some fucking little bitch get in my way. Like, when it comes to stuff like that. Fucking rightards are trying to convert us into America's Saudi Arabia, and I think that our generation is not gonna be happy about this. You think? No, they absolutely know. They're 100% aware of that. Why do you think they're trying to remove voting rights? Why do you think they're trying to, like, take away the right to vote? Why do you think they're trying to exterminate queer people? Why do you think they're trying to exterminate leftists? Because that's what it is now. The right wing are Nazis and fascists. If you call them conservative, you're a bitch. And you're a fucking liberal. Like, the Republican Party are all fascists and Nazis. Like, at best, they're fascists or fascist, sympathizers, or at worst, they're literally Nazis. The Democratic Party is the party of conservatism now. Like, and any fucking idea that, like, it's nothing else is insane. It actually is fucking insane. Because, like, the Republican Party is overtly a Nazi fascist party, and you got, like, the Democrats who've, like, had the ratchet effect hit them over and over and over again, so much to the point that they are now the Republican Party. Like, the Democratic Party is basically the party of Reagan at this point, and the Republican Party is the party of fascism and Nazism. But it was a symptom of greater, you thought, see that now. It was never weird. It was never a weird thing for them to just, like, hit voting rights. Like, oh, yeah, people who are 18 shouldn't vote. Like, no, they don't want people voting, period. They want white, slave-owning landowners to be fucking voters. They want the industrialist to be the voter. They want the cop to be the voter. They want the Nazi and the fascist to be the voter. They don't want anyone else being a voter. They don't want renters. They don't want the working class. They don't want, any brown or minority. They don't want a queer. They don't want any of those people being fucking voters. They don't want women voting. It is strictly white, straight land-owning males who are slave owners and plantation capital owners. That's who the fuck they want. Make no bones about it. Because the idea of, like, reviving the Confederacy, why do you think they're gung-ho about shit like that? Why do you think these neo-Confederates are gun-ho the way they are? Because they know for a fact that that's a way to reestablish their fucking white pride. Which it needs to be exterminated, by the way. This whole white pride bullshit, this white supremacy, actually needs to physically be exterminated. Like, it is now, it's a fucking war. I hope people realize that. It is genuinely a fucking war. And no one else is starting it but the Nazis. The fucking fascists are starting the fucking race war. In fact, they haven't started. They are acting on it. They're fucking terrorists. And that's what they are, and they need to be treated as such and as fucking combatants. Like, every time you see these motherfuckers, they should be met with pure physical violence. Nothing more. This is why I think the left needs to arm up. This is why I think progressives need firearms. This is why I advocate that. Because frankly, I know what the fuck the right wing want. I've always known. I'm a queer person. I'm pansexual. I'm fucking, I know, what they say about just queer people alone. I absolutely fucking know what they want. And they want extermination. They basically want to gas all the fucking, their dissidents and people that they hate. Like, I know what the fuck they want in peace and diplomacy, and electoralism ain't gonna do anything. Man, the neo-Confederacy would be an oligarch. They thought it'd be temporary. Temporary? Nah, that's the end goal. The last season of the old sci-fi show Babylon 5, the leader of the Earth Alliance spends the entire show in the background until the end. Not surprised. Cementing totalitarianism on Earth. Yeah. Because this shit is just insane. This whole Project 2025, because that's what, this is what it is. Like, it's been a whole fucking movement, for a long time, and now they're codifying it. Because they know, because they know what they want, this is what they've wanted, and it's been an experiment they've been trying to push since since the 40s and the 50s, really. I'm not even kidding. A lot of these fuckers and these parasites who, organize these different groups and shit, and cemented neoconservatism and ultra-nationalism in America are literal fucking Nazis that fled Germany. Straight up. We embedded fucking Nazis in America just because they were the good old boys that decided to help us with space race and shit. Which they should have been executed too, as far as I give a fuck. So it's just we basically allowed them to be cemented, not just here, but even in places like in Germany, and in the Soviet Union, and in England, and in France, and in all over Europe. We never, that's the thing about America. We never finish this shit, so we end up, coming back and basically being the same fucking point again. It happened in World War I, it happened in World War II, and it happened throughout the Cold War, and now here we are again. I'm not even kidding. Happened during the Civil War, too, with Reconstruction. We could never finish a fucking job. We never finished Reconstruction. We never finished, Versailles, though, to be fair, that was more or less just trying to punish Germany anyway, and the intent, or the Central Powers at that point. So that wasn't even built on good merit, which led to fascism and Nazism. And then after that, we didn't, finish Reconstruction there either. Well, Germany, I guess, did themselves because they actually give a fuck about, quelling fascism and shit. At least at this point. Considering that, they're at least willing to crush their fascist organizational powers and shit that are trying to coup their fucking government before they even get started. So, while over here, they're openly talking about it at different, little committees and, conferences, and even in Congress. All this is relevant. It made me laugh at a comment. We didn't name a tank after... Wait, what? Watched a debate earlier on General Sherman being a war criminal while... what made me laugh is a comment on a video. We didn't name a tank after him. You heard Nazis use slave labor and reincarnated. He got reincarnated, yeah. He literally, identified as a battle tank and got reincarnated, and his spirit was, infused into all the Sherman tanks that, were out in the battlefield. Based in Sherman-pilled. There, since we're discussing this anyway, let's just talk about it. And it's my goddamn headphones that decided to... I swear, this motherfuckers are gonna, connect again, and it's just gonna go mute randomly.
To hit the ground running as conservatives to really help the next president. This task in 2024 is too big for any one think tank. This has to be a movement. And what we've done is use our convening power here at Heritage to bring the entire movement together. But
by the way, notice how there's literally, notice how many groups, just kind of go across the screen here.
Be a movement.
So this guy's from the Heritage Foundation.
And what we've done is use our convening power here at Heritage to bring the entire movement together.
Which obviously got, all these groups.
But what we're doing is systematically preparing.
Which, by the way, the Federalist Society, Monster for Liberty, all this, all these different groups have been, in here, by the way.
To office and bring a new army.
Which all of them are pretty much all hell-bent on ultra-nationalistic, ultra-conservatism, far-right, fascistic shit. Faith, family, yeah. And notice his verbiage, by the way. He's very militaristic when it comes to his verbiage, and that's it's not just some coincidence. That's by design. We need to unify and form an army
of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready.
Weaponized. Notice the fucking verbiage he's using. He's using war talk. He's talking like he's about to go into a fucking war, because it is a war. These motherfuckers, have been, pretty much have decided a terroristic fucking war on the entire American populace, and because of civility and decorum, we just have to fucking sit down and take it. While the Democrats and the liberals in this fucking country do nothing to do anything about it. Besides, we're not them. Hey, we're not like these guys, so vote for us to stand.
Battle.
That's gonna do a fuck.
State.
The Heritage Foundation and dozens of right-wing dark money organizations have come together to formulate Project 2025, which is a set of personnel and policy recommendations intended to guide the next Republican administration through their first 180 days in office. And if they successfully pressure the president to adopt everything on their wish list, America...
The rest of the Constitution's too stupid to pull it off? No, they're not. If anything, they're just as Machiavellian, if not even more so, to be fucking frank. Because they'll be able to try to use that as a more moderate idea. Because then they could just say, oh, we're doing this because, we're just doing what's best for the country and blah, blah, blah. They'll take a lot more of a moderate framing of, these fascistic ideas and shit. Because, for the stance on what Trump is, when it comes to Republican economic policy or conservative policy and shit, they push that shit just like the rest of them. So it certainly, would be just as bad, and honestly, and they definitely would not be too stupid to pull it off. They're just not as willing to, be gun-ho to their more extremist elements of their base, but they're still willing to certainly placate to them.
look like a completely different country. They would dismantle...
I mean, why do you think there are, all these different, two stupid conservatives in these different red states are pushing the same exact fucking policies that DeSantis and Trump want?
State, expand the power of the executive, enact nation...
Chris Christie seems like a moderate. Yeah, like, there's a few of them that are, but notice how pretty much, like, outside of, like, moderate anti-Trump types, like, how no one really likes him. I mean, he ain't, winning with the far-right fascist group base when it comes to Republicans. Like, because Chris Christie, like, honestly, at least on the debate stage, he was, like, one of the few that I actually kind of think is aight for being a Republican, but that day of Republicanism is gone. Like, Chris Christie unironically would probably fare better in the Democratic Party, and that's fucking saying something. Like, and I'm not even kidding, honestly, because, like I said from earlier, like, the Democratic Party has shifted so far to the right, they are now the conservative party of America now. Like, I mean, that's what they are. We don't have, like, a liberal party in the United States. We have, like, a liberal wing of a conservative party, but that's it. Like, I mean, that's all we have now, which is the Progressive Caucus, and even then, they're barely progressive. So it's just like, or barely liberal anyway. Like, I mean, they talk all that shit, but they never actually really walk it. So it's like, I mean, we don't have, like, any form of liberalism really at this point in this country, outside of just, like, economic, social policy every now and then from Democrats. Which, at this point, is basically just, like, more neoconservative style politics. But no one voted for them. Well, yeah, because they're all third parties, and we've been conditioned to think third parties aren't viable, so they don't have any ability to have any influence or, power to actually, like, have any recognition.
That censorship, ban porn, and politically imprison LGBTQ plus people potentially. And should the next Republican president choose to pursue this unconstitutional agenda, he'd have the backing of the Supreme Court most likely. Now, all of this is moot if A, a Republican loses the 2024 election, or B, a Republican wins but chooses to ignore this agenda entirely. But if the Federalist Society has taught us anything, it's that Republicans always listen to well-funded right-wing think tanks, because those are the organizations that their donors send money to, so why wouldn't they listen? And Ed Corrigan, who's one of the architects of Project 2025, casually explained why they're very confident that this is not going to be ignored.
This has been really a team effort. You got 50 different conservative organizations have contributed to this. That's what makes this a strong product. No presidential campaign or president is going to be able to ignore it.
No presidential campaign or president is going to be able to ignore it.
And considering that there's a large swath of PACs, lobbyists, and groups and shit that are organized into essentially, like, unify on, these, big issues is fucking majorly concerning. Like, I mean, and honestly, I think kind of goes against the idea of, like, the rest of the cons are too stupid to pull it off, because, yeah, no, they're not. Like, I mean, because the thing is, like, these are the same type of people that their checks and make sure that, they're the ones that, like, make the last calls. Like, so they're going to be the ones listening to them. And if they're going to be, basically codifying all their investments and all their budgets, and funding into these conservative groups and, like, politicians and shit, and codify all into one major organization, one big movement, then they are going to, like, solidify a major movement and a voice, when it comes to, like, the big issues that they want to try to push. Which we already know what they want, which is just basically fascistic coup. Like, that's what they want. And notice how the Democratic Party, or, like, progressives or lefties, don't have any of this at all. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I mean, legitimately, like, they're, like, the Democratic Party, liberals and progressives, like, anyone on the left, there's nothing like this for the left. Like, this is why the conservatives are able to, like, push so much of their fucking shit, and why, being so aggressive and adamant, and at least trying to push against it as much as possible is so fucking important, and such a, major issue. And so why just voting against it doesn't mean dick. Because, like, evidently, like, on a lot of, swaths of our government, from different states to the national level, it's ran by Democrats, and yet, this shit's still being pushed left and right. And they're codifying this type of shit. They're solidifying their power on this. And so it's, where the fuck is, fighting against that and, putting something for people so they can have something to stand for, that would be against this type of shit. Like, there isn't anything. like, Democrats and progressives should be looking at what the fuck is going on here and being like, oh shit, we need to seriously just, like, stop infighting. We need to, like, you know, codify all of our groups and organizations into, like, one big movement as well. We need to, like, have, you know, our two big three issues and just say fuck this. Like, as if they're doing this on their issues, especially when it comes to this culture war shit, then we need to have something, you know, that's an alternative to this, like, fucking now. Because that is genuinely a red flag, like, DEFCON 1 scenario. Like, seriously, it is. And no one's taking it seriously.
He's right about that. He said it in a very nonchalant way, but it's still very ominous nonetheless. But let's break it down. What is Project 2025? Well, the first order of business would be for them to expand the power of the presidency in order to lay the groundwork for unconstitutional policies that they really want to implement. As Bryn Tannehill of Dame Magazine explains, the mandate for leadership is a 920-page document that details how the next Republican administration will implement radical...
Shit's fucking thick as a Bible.
And sweeping changes to the entirety of government. This blueprint assumes that the next president will be able to rule by fiat under the unitary executive theory, which posits that the president has the power to control the entire federal executive branch.
It is a Bible. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they basically just took the Bible and said, we're using this. Actually, let's see. How big is this? I mean, I got one, so let's see the approximate. Yeah, this Bible is about 1,020 pages. Well, I guess if you count these blank pages, probably 1,025 about, probably. I guess maybe if you count the very first couple pages in the very front, maybe like 1,035 or something like that, or 1,030. So, yeah, but I'm pretty sure they probably just took, like, a more, you know, paraphrased, shortened version of the Bible and just like, yeah, this is our textbook here. This is our pamphlet. This is what we're using.
It is also based on the premise that the next president will implement Schedule F, which allows the president to fire any federal employee who has policy-making authority and replace them with the presidential appointee who is not voted on in the Senate. The president would directly manage and influence Department of Justice and FBI cases, which would allow him to pursue criminal cases against political enemies. Environmental law would be gutted, and states would be prevented from enforcing their own environmental laws. So there's a lot to this, and it's pretty complicated, so let me try to parse this out for you. It's
all horrible and bad, and it's fascistic, evil shit, and it must be stopped by any means necessary. I mean, there you go. I mean, anything else to say there, Mike?
Means is that federal agencies which currently operate independently would lose that independence. Many federal agencies that they don't like would just be abolished or weaponized to their own liking. For example, they plan on gutting the EPA, predictably, and shifting them away from their focus on climate change entirely.
I mean, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to outright abolish it.
While directing other agencies...
Because a lot of them are trying to... They just want that. Like, a lot of them advocate that. They're like, yeah, abolish it, because it's like a rogue commie agency or something. And then you got, like, a bunch of them that want to do that for education and shit. And there's also, like, I don't know if you heard, but there's also, like, a crazy, like, Trump version, like, weirdo in Argentina that basically is, you know, like, the equivalent. Like, where, you know, he had, like, some weird, like, campaign ad, and apparently he was a front runner or some shit, where he was like, oh, I'm gonna gut literally everything. He had, like, this whole fucking, like, magnet board thing with, like, you know, the government agencies, and then, like, the top, you know, with the, like, you know, government, you know, whatever the fuck, and then it had, like, all the connections to all the agencies, and he literally was like, gone, out, afuera, you know, whatever the fuck he was saying when it came to, like, gone, out, you know, he was just like, no, gone, fuck this shit, like, literally to everything, like, to every agency. He was like, yep, I'm going to literally have an ANCAP, like, dystopia society, like, gut everything, fuck government. I'm running, you know, for president to basically not be a president and fuck government.
Expand fossil fuel infrastructure, like the Department of Energy, for example. And you're probably thinking, well, couldn't the president...
They don't want to create Ministry of Peace to create an NKVD secret police. They do. I mean, they basically, like, and you want to know how they're going to do it? They're just going to add it as, like, you know, extra shit for cops. Because you want to know something? Like, you want to know what the police like to do around here in Portland? Like, pretty much every fucking night, especially in, like, East and North Portland. They have a plane, they have, like, a little Cessna 182 that they will literally fly in circles, just doing surveillance. I'm not even kidding. Here, I can actually pull something up about this really quick, because somebody on the Portland subreddit the other day was, asking about it, being like, what the fuck is this about? But here, let me see if I can find the post, because it shows the flight paths and all that shit. Which, by the way, implies that this shit's already a thing, because it is a thing already. Like, I mean, it's just more or less, just going to be something that is, going to be a lot more frequent and a lot more heavily pushed, and if anything, just massively expanded. Here, let me see if I can find a specific post on it. Yeah, just that, yeah. Really not that many, and not many new posts on Portland subreddit, so it should be easy to find here, actually. There's that one, yeah. Is that one? Yeah, should probably coming up about right up here, I think. Okay, where the fuck is it? Ah, here it is. I found it. I knew it was up here. What's this? Here we go. So this is what I'm talking about. What are these small planes doing? See? So this is by this is contracted owned by the Portland Police, and the C-182 is the Cessna 182. So they fly off from who fucking knows where, and then they just like do these weird little circle patterns endlessly, and they just fly at a low altitude, about like 4,000 something feet, and just buzz around, just doing surveillance. And also there's another one over there doing the same thing. So, it's not exactly a new thing.
We effectively do that by just appointing the
Stuff the stream waiting for you to start. Whatever.
Industry plan. I mean, we've seen this again and again. So why not just make somebody who is a fossil fuel CEO, for example, the head of the EPA? Well, the president could do that, but this is different because it goes further than that. Because once they re-implement Schedule F via executive order, they also plan to clean house, which is very different than last time. Because as Salon explains, by replacing federal employees with like-minded officials, Trump-era conservatives are planning to remove federal employees whom they perceive as obstacles to the president's agenda early on. This would avoid the pitfalls of Trump's first years in office and eliminate the possibility of any resistance a Republican president would encounter, the AP reported. And what this would do is create a sort of organizational harmony, so you wouldn't see the pushback that we saw in Trump's first years in office, for example, because remember, he wanted to do...
Yeah, like, they basically are saying we want to replace, like, anyone in government as, like, nothing more than a loyalist to the cause. Like, I mean, this is literally just straight fucking fascism. I mean, this is what this is. Like, the idea that we're going to have a unitary, one-party, loyal state of, that's utterly authoritarian, ultra-nationalist, and ultra-conservative, that, has, nothing but authoritarian dictatorial edicts on economic and especially cultural and social policies. Like, I mean, that's essentially what the fuck they want, and nothing more.
A lot of really terrible things, but he couldn't.
Like, this is literally just an advocating for a fascistic, Nazistic, like, Christo-theocracy. Like, this is just what, the fuck this is. I mean, it's just fucking insane to think otherwise, that, like, the Republican Party is just like, yeah, they're just, like, conservative and stuff. No, they're not. They're fucking fascists. The idea that they're not is just ridiculous and comical at this point. And you must be living under the biggest fucking rock possible, for that to be the case.
President's power, but this is kind of the answer to that. It's a way to address these obstacles that he encountered and remove them. And think about it this way. So remember when Bill Barr was Attorney General and he contradicted Trump's lies about the election, and he said that he's not going to open up a probe into the FBI's investigation of Trump's 2016 campaign. Like, he openly defied Trump, essentially. Well, Barr was able to do that because as the Attorney General, as the head of the department...
I'm sure it's fascists overturn every policy you like. Well, yeah. Which is, why do you think, I'm a major advocate for at this point, like, trying to stop them by any means necessary as quick as fucking possible before they actually gain fucking power. Like, these motherfuckers need to be, drawn back into the fucking sewers and, like, dragged back in there where they fucking belong. And if they want to fucking, try to, go around, kicking and screaming and freaking the fuck out, then we'll just put them out like old Yeller then. Because I ain't gonna be fucking, dealing with their bullshit. If they want to, try to fight back at that point, then, I ain't gonna give them, like, no second chances on that fucking shit. Either go back in your fucking sewers where you belong, or that's your only fucking shot. Better fucking take it.
Independent, you have autonomy, right? Trump can't influence what you do. He could simply fire you and replace you with somebody else who's more loyal. But even that power is limited because Trump tried to do this. Remember when Justice Department officials threatened to resign en masse when Trump considered replacing Jeffrey Rosen with Jeffrey Clark when he was trying to steal the election? I mean, that was really important. That stopped Trump from proceeding forward with his attempt to steal the 2020 election. But I mean, think about what would happen in that scenario if the president assumed direct control of the Department of Justice, and worse, replaced every legacy employee with Trump loyalists who would be less likely to defy him. You start to kind of see...
And also probably not knowing what the fuck they're doing when it comes to, like, running government affairs.
How this would become a threat to...
So basically, the government will slowly but surely, like, rot and collapse within itself, too. Because all these loyalists will not know what to do when it comes to general, like, basic affairs that these staffers and employees would be doing. So, like, they're just going to be running around, they're like, with a chicken with his head cut off, and just basically, like, just essentially, just running as, like, their own personal little loyalist yes man Mar-a-Lago club.
See directly and why this would be much worse than last time, because those existing checks that limit the president's power would simply not exist anymore under
the legacy employees actually know how to run things. Yeah, I mean, granted, I'm sure a lot of those employees might be conservative, liberal, centrist, whatever the fuck. I'm sure, most of them, if not all of them, are not lefties by any metrics. I'm sure some are progressive and stuff like that, but, like, I mean, like, one thing I'll grant them is that at least, that, like, they know how to run shit. They've been there, like, and, like, a part of them getting that job was because they know what the fuck they're doing. Like, I mean, I don't care what politics someone has. If they know what they're doing with their job, I will give them the job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and, same thing for these employees. Like, when it comes to, like, running general basic affairs, in which a lot of it isn't necessarily, like, policy shit or anything like that. It's more or less just, like, make sure that, like, this politician gets, some documents, or, make sure a message, gets to somebody, and this and that, and, all that shit. Making sure that, like, like a politician knows, like, they got a meeting at 4 or whatever the fuck, just random shit like that. I mean, and you think a bunch of random Trump lapdogs, running around are gonna fucking do any of that shit or know how to, like, organize any of that? Oh, fuck no. Like, it's gonna be such a clusterfuck, it would be ridiculous.
Philosophy, which they want to embrace. It would give him virtually unlimited power over the entire executive branch and every agency, and that is a problem. And Trump had authoritarian ambitions before, right? But the problem is that he didn't have the power or the know-how to actually pull off his dictatorial ambition.
And by the way, I know, like, a lot of this whole Project 2025 is trying to do this with Trump, but they will do this with any Republican. Like, that's why they're also, kind of adding, Republican presidency or Republican administration, because, while they expect Trump to be the nominee and shit, like, they're willing to put anybody, as a replacement for that. Like, because the whole idea is, to ensure that regardless who the Republican president is, that they would enact on these edicts, considering that most of the Republican, like, super PAC lobbyist apparatus is organized by these different groups. Would you want to go further? Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Rhonda would certainly absolutely fucking, be worse when it comes to this situation.
But this time would be different, because many of the 300-plus conservatives involved in Project 2025 came from Trump's administration, and they would likely return for round 2 if he were reelected. And what's scary is that Trump has already embraced this vision for the executive. So if he's reelected, this will likely become a reality. So what they're doing is they're looking back at the obstacles that he faced the first time he was in the White House, and they're trying to eliminate all of those obstacles going forward, so that way he can do all of the terrible things that he wants to do. But once they consolidate presidential power, they then move on to the second order of business, the implementation of policy. And a lot of that includes deregulation, giveaways to their donors that fund, this network, the traditional conservative things that you would expect. But there's also a component regarding conservative social policy, and it's a sort of wish list that would basically transform the United States into a Christian theocracy.
Well, duh. I mean, I would argue just like a Naziistic Christian theocracy, not just a Christian theocracy.
They're pretty explicit about this.
I suppose that's really the difference.
So Dame explains, the social conservative wish list calls for ending abortion, diversity and inclusion efforts, protections for LGBTQ people, and most importantly, banning any and all LGBTQ content. In fact, the mandate for leadership makes eradicating LGBTQ people from public life its top priority. Its number one promise is to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. They are explicit in how they plan to do so, as you'll see in the paragraph below.
I mean, honestly, this is already premise and a staple of Nazi rhetoric. I mean, it just is returning, the family unit as the main staple of the cultural and national symbol of the nation. This was an open, very overt Nazi talking point.
To proceed by declaring any and all LGBTQ content to be pornographic in nature. And this is a direct quote from Project 2025's document. Quote, pornography manifested today and the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children, for instance, is not a political Gordian knot inextricably binding up disparate claims about free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, and child welfare. It has no claim to First Amendment protections. Its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Their product is as addictive as any illicit drug and as psychologically destructive as any crime.
Based on what?
Pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned. Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders, and telecommunications and technology firms that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. That's
literally Nazi rhetoric. That's overt Nazi shit. Because the Nazis said these same things about Jewish people, by the way. They said the same thing about homosexuality back in the day in the 30s as well. This is things that the fucking Nazis overtly did. Hold on. Let's read up a little bit about something here. This guy do this one. Okay. I think his name was Hanspringer. What was his name? No, not J. H. There we go. What was his name? It was fuck, I'm forgetting the dude's name. I know it was the... This should, this should probably pull it up. Institute for Sozialwissenschaft. Alright, here we go. Here we go. It was a early private sexology research institute from 1919 to 1933. Which, notice something here? You have literal Aryan Nazi SA, brown shirts, or I guess in this case white shirts, I guess, doing a little protest outside of this early sex research institute. Oh, Magnus Hirschfeld. Now, this is the guy's name. This is the guy I was trying to find. Hirschfeld. He was a gay German back in the, obviously back in the 30s and shit. Well, during the 1800s and the 30s. And he was a very outspoken advocate for sexual minorities, and also helped advocate for transgender rights as well. And also was and his institute was one of the few institutes that actually was one of the first to do early trans reassignment surgery. or like trans, gender reassignment and shit. So I mean, honestly, it's just like, I mean, this dude was like a major like queer activist, at the time. And you can say here, it was targeted by fascists and then later by Nazis for being a Jew and gay. So, double whammy. And the Volkish activists during the 20s and in the 30s, attacked him and burned his shit and all that shit. And he was exiled to France. But he was a major, like I said, sexual rights advocate. Found a balance between practicing medicine and writing about his findings. Between 1st of May and the 15th of October 1896, Grosse Grafenbadestuden took place, which featured 9, quote, human zoos, which are fucking abominations upon humanity. It's fucking disgusting. I'm not even going to click that. You can figure it out. Such exhibitions of colonial people. I mean, you can kind of understand it at this point, right? Hirschfeld, who was keenly interested in sexuality and our cultures, visited the Grosse blah, 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 to inquire to people in humans via interpreters about status, sexuality, and cultures. In 1896, he was talking to people displayed at the zoos after Hirschfeld getting right and became a book Die Homosexualität des Mannes und Weibes, homosexuality, men and women, and an attempt to comprehensively survey homosexuality around the world, as far as ever to prove homosexuality occurred in every culture. In the books, Hirschfeld found that many homosexuals considered England to be the country of the highest rate of homosexuality. After years in general, blah, blah, blah. So, obviously this guy was like a major, like had a major interest about, understanding like sexuality and humanity and psychology, and was a very outspoken advocate about that shit. I mean, considering, back in the day, like with this shit, I guess, it's problematic, but I don't... He wasn't really, like, looking at it, for any racial thing. He was just trying to, obviously get understanding about, like, sexuality, and especially, like, homosexuality and other cultures and other peoples. So, and he just kind of took opportunity of, of the situation, I guess. But still, like, I mean, nonetheless, like, the Nazis, to bring him full circle and shit, like, I mean, the Nazis basically looked at him and his research and him being a gay Jewish man and targeted him directly because of his shit. Which, they said the exact same fucking shit that this project said, about when it came to that paragraph. All the shit that these guys said right here, the Volksstimme, the Nazis said about Magnus. And when it came to his research institute and in his outspoken advocacy for trans and homosexual rights at the time. Like, I mean, it's no different. Like, this shit is literally 100 fucking years old, and this type of stuff that they're, saying right here is literal fucking Nazi rhetoric. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because those Nazis did the same shit and said the same exact shit, that they did to him and his, like, advocacy and shit, just as much as they're doing it today. That's why I say the Republican Party, at best, is fascist, and at worst are just fucking Nazis. Because they're just advocating and talking their points. Like, they're just saying their fucking talking points in a more modern rhetoric at this rate. Like, cultural Marxism and, like, and all this shit. What did Nazis say back then? Cultural Bolshevism. Like, it's the same shit. Just, couched out with slightly different buzzwords. That's it. I mean, it's just like, I mean, like I said, the idea that, Republican Party is just like a bunch of conservatives is just fucking bullshit. Like, yeah, you might get a few, like, old guards that are stupidly in there for some reason at this point. But, it's like at that point, they're just complicit with the fascists at that rate. So they're no better than them. So fuck them too. So, like, I mean, like, if anything, they're just a lot more of a, covert fascist about it because, they advocate the same policies that they want anyway. So it's just like, I mean, that's just what the fuck they are at this rate. I mean, to say otherwise is just fucking foolish. Genuinely foolish.
Chilling. But the question is, what would this look like in practice? And to be honest, nobody knows for sure, but at best, it looks like a nationwide implementation of Don't Say Gay in all schools, and...
Do you think Lincoln Revolt's Revoltant is engraved with Seamus Party Rot? Probably. And yeah, and I'm pretty sure FDR feels the same way too, to an extent.
Ban on gender affirming care in all 50 states, but at worst, this also could look like the literal imprisonment of anyone who is openly LGBTQ. Dame speculates it's also arguable that LGBTQ parents would be subject to arrest, imprisonment, and being put on sex offender registries for exposing children to pornography.
Or even potentially exiled, like when it came to Magnus Hirschfeld. Because, I mean, they also revoked his citizenship, too. I don't know if you looked at the Wikipedia when we were looking at his page specifically, but when you notice his citizenship, it said German, but it said revoked by Nazis. So the Nazis literally revoked his citizenship, so he didn't even have really a citizenship anywhere anymore.
By being LGBTQ and having children. It could be argued as well that people who are visibly trans in public are pornographic or obscene because they might be seen by a minor. This understanding of intent is in line with the call to eradicate transgenderism from public life.
I don't think exile punishment would do anymore. You don't think these fucks would bring it back? Because they would. And they would, make it horrible and, like, exile, queer people to, like, Hungary or, like, Saudi Arabia or some shit. Like, they fucking would. They'll send them to a place that is, like, even worse, for them, basically. Or just as bad. Like, I mean, these motherfuckers wouldn't give a shit. Like, damn well that they will try to enact that type of policy and bring it back. Like, slip it in. I think they just prefer to kill us. Well, they want to do it without necessarily overtly having, like, camps again. And the way to do that is basically, shoving them so far deep in the closet that they either kill themselves or become refugees in another country, that doesn't really have any, care for them either as well. And just hope they just off themselves, basically, or starve to death, or, rot in the street, or get killed in prison, or something like that. Or, that's what, or, killed in a hate crime. Like, I mean, that's what they want. Like, I mean, and basically letting people get away with, committing those type of crimes and shit. Well, obviously, when it comes to this type of shit. And basically punishing them and shoving them as far away out of society as possible. Because it's a lot easier to do that than set up a bunch of fucking camps of gas chambers. Because that looks a lot more abhorrent, especially on the national level, and it's a lot harder to get away with that these days. Like, back then, like, the Nazis were able to get away with it because it didn't have, because a lot of the populace just generally didn't know too much about all that shit. Like, I mean, because some of these, villages that would have these camps, like, literally not even, like, a mile or two outside of their village, literally would never know it even was there. And when, the Americans or the Soviets came in, and liberated camps and shit, a lot of times they would make these German citizens and villagers go to these camps and help them clean shit up. Like, uncover bodies, and all this other shit. And, I mean, and that's where, a lot of citizens at that time, and a lot of Germans started realizing, like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, I mean, that's when, like, the facade broke for a lot of them. I mean, because they were so bent up, in this fucking idea. But, and when they saw for what the fuck it was, and when it actually got highlights, and they went, oh, shit. We didn't want to go this far. Oh, fuck. We didn't realize it was this bad. Oh, no. We just want Germany to be good, and not this. Oh, no. It's like, and, because they're fucking manipulable dumb shits, just like, here. Just like in America now. Like, because you have a bunch of manipulable dumb fucks, that are bought into the whole fucking, like, veneer of this whole trying to burn America back to his former glory, whatever the fuck. And when push comes to shove, a lot of them aren't absolutely as keen on, like, doing utter extermination and shit. They just want what's best for the kids, and, like, what's best for America, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what they want. So it's like, these Republican fascist parasites, like, as much as they want to basically set up the camps and shit, like, they know it would be utterly disastrous for them in that way. And, because they wouldn't be able to just hide that in, like, in, like, a forest somewhere, like, outside of town, like, a few miles out. They can't just do that. Like, it can't, and, say, oh, that's like a little factory or something that we set up for POWs or whatever. Like, they can't just, like, masquerade it as something. It'd be too hard at this point. Like, it's a lot, like, because of satellite imagery, especially considering how much, like, they spread, when it comes to information, when, something gets highlighted like that or whistleblown, like, I mean, it's way harder. Like, at least in that way, the paradigm has changed. But it's not like it's, like, they ain't gonna try, which, I will admit. I'm sure there's going to be, maybe on the state level, some politicians that might try to do that. God damn, that's bear day. Wait, did you finally find the bear scene? Their cock looks painful. Are they supposed to be knotted? No? As far as I'm aware, like, canines are the only ones that have, like, that whole knot thing. Like, I mean, but I don't fucking know. So, like, okay. I guess they have some creative liberties. So is that not necessarily just a bear, but also part wolf? A part bear wolf? A wolf? A bear wolf? You can set what form he takes. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Wolf, bear, panther. Oh my god, dude. Some game developer, you know, for that game Who's a Furry had a lot of creative liberty on that one. And I think their interests really shows. Wolf, bear, and panther. Seems very specific. If it was just one, like a werebear or like a werewolf, it would have been one thing. But now there's like certain options. It's like, okay.
Genuinely terrifying, because we are looking at a situation where every single queer person and arguably queer allies would no longer be safe in this country. They could all be subject to imprisonment or being on a sex offender list just because they're gay or trans. I mean, many people would be forced to leave, especially if they're in red states with governors not willing to protect them. This would create an LGBTQ refugee crisis of mass proportions. And that's what they want. But it gets worse because they want to crack down on the internet. Now, first, let's talk about the way that that would affect...
I mean, they're already trying to push this in legislation for the Congress right now, by the way.
Q plus people and their allies. So, with pornography being outlawed and all queer-related content being designated as porn, well, anyone who disseminates said pornographic material, like myself apparently, and the website that allows for said dissemination, like YouTube apparently, as well as the internet service provider that gives users access to this website that disseminates pornographic material, would all be subject to punishment or imprisonment at worst. In other words, if YouTube doesn't cleanse their website of pornographic LGBTQ plus content, then internet service providers would be forced to cut them off.
I guess that means that even the guy who, you know, nared his hole, you know, would also be taken down too. Damn.
Effectively kill off all of these websites.
No, on all seriousness, no, like that like it's like, I mean, that would, like, it's like, how would you even be able to enforce that outside of just, like, basically just shutting down the website? I mean, like, honestly, it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, at a certain rate, it's like, I mean, you basically, like, the only way to truly enforce that is just shut the website down, because there's so many, like, straight people even that are obviously queer accepting and pro-LGBTQ that, you know, have, like, the whole, like, you know, like, their whole, like, aesthetic and, like, their whole community, you know, and, you know, their channel, like, openly, safe when it comes to, like, you know, queer people, like, having, like, trans flags or stuff like that. Like, Squib Tips, for example, like, a motorcyclist, YouTuber, he, like, he has a bunch of random, like, trans flags. Here, I can show you. Yeah, this guy. I mean, hell, even like his main like profile pic on YouTube. Like, it, see? Like, I mean, he's pretty overt about it. He's a straight guy, but, you know, he openly is, like, very, you know, friendly to the LGBTQ. Like, he actually has a video, like, about his, you know, transition from being, like, kind of a transphobic, kind of homophobic guy to somebody who's, like, you know, a pro-queer person. I mean, you can just kind of see, like, you know, he has, like, you know, kind of a Pride, I Love New York City shirt. You know, he's got the trans Pride flags back there. I mean, he also has this, like, crazy looking America thing, too. So he's kind of, like, all over the place a little bit with that, but there's kind of a reason why, like, he kind of does that, because he's trying to, like, you know, normalize this idea. It's like, hey, I'm an American like anybody else, you know, and so I'm like pro-gun, love this and that, blah, 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 very libertine in my ideas and shit. But, you know, like, hey, trans rights, bitch. Like, I mean, you know, so, you know, he's one of those dudes. And I really appreciate him for that. Like, he's a really cool dude. I mean, I know you're not like a bicyclist or a motorcyclist or anything like that, but yeah, I recommend checking some of his stuff out. He's got some cool content, especially good shorts.
They comply. And LGBTQ content isn't the only thing that they would designate as porn.
The fake Trump controlled the conservative show. All right, we'll watch that after this.
About that. Think of all of the movies and video games that would be censored if this all came to fruition. I mean, we're looking at a censorship regime here that's far worse than China's and more similar to Saudi Arabia's and the Taliban's.
Or even North Korea.
That's where we're at. That's what they're openly saying that they want. But
like you were saying earlier about this, like, I'm surprised they don't have like a Mr. Peace and KVD style. Well, this is it. This is kind of at least one element of that. And like I was showing from earlier, when it came to like, you know, the PPB plane surveillance aircraft, you know, just gathering data and shit, like randomly for some reason, you know, like for no reason really. I mean, you know, it's like you got those, you know, like, I mean, it's already around and they're trying to like push this even further and further because like think about it. You think the PBB, you think that plane is, you know, gonna like, you know, just not do anything if someone's looking up gay porn or something like that, you know, like here in Oregon or some shit? No, they're gonna use that as a way to like pin that and be like, all right, no, we got someone who's a sex offender. So they're gonna, you know, like, because especially with the PPB, they're overtly right-wing to the point where they actually legit have like a few open fucking Nazis in their ranks. So, you know, like, you know, that's like how deep this type of shit goes. It would even hit blue states.
Do this.
Which actually was about to talk about.
Obviously be extreme pushback from blue states. But of course, they've thought about that too, and they have a plan. Dame continues, the organizations that drafted the mandate for leadership understand that blue states, which have sanctuary laws for transgender people, are unlikely to comply. It's difficult to imagine California arresting and prosecuting teachers, librarians, doctors, therapists, bookstores, virtual or physical, LGBTQ parents, and especially LGBTQ people merely...
I like how they always single out California in this.
...existing in public. This is why they include the following paragraph. Quote, where warranted and proper under federal law, initiate legal action against local officials, including district attorneys, who deny American citizens the equal protection of the laws by refusing to prosecute criminal offenses in their jurisdictions. This holds true particularly for jurisdictions that refuse to enforce the law against criminals based on the left's favorite defining characteristics of the would-be offender, race, so-called gender identity, sexual orientation, etc., or other political considerations, e.g. immigration status. This is calling for the executive branch to use the Department of Justice to threaten prosecution of any local or state officials if they do not charge LGBTQ people and their allies with crimes under the pretense that they are breaking federal and state laws against exposing minors to pornography.
Which is fucking insane. Like, they're basically, like, using such weird, slippery weasel fucking language because, like, I mean, it's... like, because they're trying to, like, word it as, like, oh, well, they're trying to, like, go against this whole, like, equal process under the law and blah, 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 blah. Even though these motherfuckers are the ones violating it and trying to circumnavigate that and destroy that idea. And, you know, they're trying to, like, frame it as, like, oh, you know, if these, you know, leftist states or these, like, district attorneys don't comply, then... you know, will, prosecute them for not, having, like, equal due process of the law and all, and use slippery little bullshit like that.
At the Department of Justice refused to go along with this, then they...
Got some shit in my pants? Wait, what? Sitting, not shitting? Are you sure?
...to be replaced under Schedule F. And we're really not even scratching the surface, because remember, this document is 900 plus pages long, and we're just looking at the LGBTQ policies. But think about the ways that they'd hamstring states' ability to provide women with abortions. Think about how this will impact people on welfare, people getting Social Security, Medicare, employment. I mean, the possibilities are...
And I can only imagine what their section on unions would look like.
And every possibility ranges from a threat to democracy, from an outright violation of democracy. And the only check on the president in this...
I mean, I would imagine the only thing that's, like, like going on with this is just nothing more than a violation of democracy. I don't really think like at best it's like, you know, risking it. It's just a destruction of it.
Would be Congress and our far-right Supreme Court. Don't really like those odds, right? Even if Congress tried to rein in the president's power and pass some sort of a law to stop this from happening, well, the Supreme Court could go along with it. They could embrace unitary executive theory and strike down that law on grounds that it's unconstitutional, and the president could continue to do this. It's a literal nightmare scenario. Like, imagine, do you think that Clarence Thomas or Samuel Alito would not go along with this? Of course they would. But having said that, though, before we get a little bit too down, this is only a wish list. Odds are they're not going to get 100% of the things that they ask for. But
I mean, with the unitary executive theory, they could certainly get a lot of that shit done. 50%. And besides, a lot of the stuff that they would be able to get done would just be able to, like, you know, solidify more of their power to get the rest of their shit done.
Or
like, this basically, like, you know, a blueprint. It's not just necessarily a wish list. It's like their open blueprint of, like, hey, here's how we're going to slowly but surely, like, you know, do a coup of the, you know, via the government.
5%. I mean, certainly if they tried this, there would be a massive legal battle with, you know, judges striking it down initially and it making its way to the Supreme Court. So there would be time for us to prepare how we're going to respond to this. But regardless, even if they got 10% of it and Trump just did what he says he's going to do, which is expand the power of the executive, that is still very troubling. Consolidating executive power is not a new phenomenon because each president has continued to expand power. Everyone, Democrats and Republicans alike, Obama, Bush, Trump. But we're talking about a massive expansion of presidential power that gives the president virtually unlimited authority over the entire executive. But even if, in the best case scenario, they get nothing, none of this comes to fruition, and Trump doesn't even do what they say he should do with regard to taking control of the executive. Well, I still think this is worth our attention because this is the vision of 50 right-wing think tanks. Think tanks that have a lot of sway over Republican politicians.
And there's plenty of them that are old guard and have been there for quite a while, from like the Heritage Foundation to a Federalist Society, like Fight for the Family, Monster Relay. There's a few of them in there. Well, Monster Relay is not an old one, but I mean, there's like, you know, a few of them that have been there for quite some time that have like consolidated, understood that like, yep, this is the way to go. You know, establish this as our blueprint moving forward.
That's huge. They are telling us that this is what they want for our country, an end to U.S. democracy, a dictatorship with a Republican on top. And I think that they wrote Project 2025 with Trump in mind, but they'll take anyone. They'll take DeSantis, they'll take Nikki Haley, they will take anyone who is willing to do what they want to do.
Which is kind of why they say, like, you know, more broadly Republican administration or Republican presidency. They don't really mention Trump as much, you know, when it comes to talking about these things and this whole blueprint, because, yeah, they'll take anyone who's a Republican. They just want to, you know, have them try to, you know, push this blueprint as much as they can. Especially, you know, someone like DeSantis or Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley. Like, there's a few out there that I know for a fucking fact that would definitely, you know, be willing to play ball with this shit.
Maybe they...
And in fact, most of them probably would anyway. There might be, you know, some that might be more moderate-ish, like, you know, Christie or something like that, that would probably, you know, be resistant on some things, but be okay with others.
Say, we're gonna endorse...
But at least when it comes to that specifically, it doesn't really mean too much, because, I mean, Trump, at least as it stands now, is going to be the nominee. So, I mean, they did write this with him in mind, but, I mean, this is going to be, you know, a project that's going to keep going up, you know, beyond this election cycle. They're going to still call it, you know, Project 2025, but, like, this is, like, you know, their whole idea moving forward, and if they can't necessarily do it totally on the federal level, then they're going to at least try to enact what they can on state level.
Candidate, give them lots of donations if they pledge to support Project 2025 in their first 180 days in office. Well, then this could give a little bit more teeth to this.
The Catoids are the future. I call them the Felinoids.
Aryan manifesto, right?
Call them by the proper name.
But the fact that this is what they want, as soon as a Republican comes back into the White House, means that we have to fight that much harder to keep a Republican out of the White House for as long as we can, to at least buy us some time, right? So
that's why, you know, the left and progressives need to be a lot more aggressive and a lot more, like, just like militant, especially on a political level, because this shit is. I mean, it's getting to the point where honestly, I would say it's starting to get to like, where like really like electoralism isn't going to get us out of this type of situation. Like there needs to be like a genuine, strong social pushback on this type of shit. Like as much as like an electoral side of this, and and it needs to be on a more unified type of front on this issue, because like the fact that the right is so adamant about unifying with this type of shit is not only just like damnably concerning, but also fucking just evidence that they are able to consolidate on specific broad issues and just hyper push and focus on those type of things and just go from there. Like whatever weird little like nitpicks and disagreements these Republican freaks might have and shit, it's they certainly don't care enough to infight when it comes to that shit.
A little bit about Project 2025. Do with this information what you will.
Gen Z is mostly leftist. Yeah, and that's also at least the part why they're gung ho about trying to crush voting rights and shit too. Oh, here. I have this. Right. Here, before I check this out, I'll go to the bathroom real quick. If they fail now, at least be a generation before they retake any power. Yeah, which in a way is why they're consolidating the way they are, because they know that this is basically kind of like a now or never type of thing. Like, because if not, then, they're going to have to basically try to figure out a way to, win over, the new generation shit. There, I'll be right back. There you are. A little supposed to stretch. Went to go grab my water bottle or my Powerade from my room. Went outside to go see what squirrels are doing with the nuts, and that Siamese cat is actually outside. So here. So one time, before we check it out, see if we can see this kitty. It's right by my front porch. Hey, Pop-Pop. See if I can do this about spooking the kitty. No, you ain't going nowhere. Oh, no. The cat ran away. It's already down the street. Well, that didn't work. But the cat was hanging out just right over here. It was just chilling right there when I saw it. I guess it got spooked. There was a squirrel up here too, going off, being like, but I don't see it up there. It's not anymore. Oh, no. That was a fat house fly. I did not want that in here. Alright, come on, Zooks. Come on, buddy. Come on. There we go. OMG, Vosh thinks Simpsons is better than Futurama. Oh my god, dude, Vosh has such shitty media takes. Come on, Zooks. That is just what? How? What? Like, I mean, well, yeah, I know. This is like, dude, Futurama is, Futurama is better than Simpsons. I mean, yeah, Futurama's got like, some, shitty episodes and stuff, but it certainly stands out and holds up way better than, The Simpsons has over its, show's history. Come on, buddy. What are you doing? You're so weird. You're such a stubborn little dog, you know that? Look at you. You silly baby. You were so stubborn and ridiculous. Look at you. Oh my gosh. That's individual shit uploads, but not shit seasons. Yeah. Like, at worst, like, Futurama has, like, mid-tier seasons, where it's, like, it's kind of mid, but still good, you know what I mean? Like, because you can at least still point to multiple episodes that are pretty good, and, and all that type of shit, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait, there's a fly right there. Oh, fuck, hold on. There's one just, like, chilling in it. Oh, fuck! That did not work! I slapped my fucking empty coffee can instead. Well, hey, I slapped something with that. Oh, yeah. It's fine, false shots. No, you showed me the fake Trump call first, so we're doing that.
We have a hilarious controversy here, y'all. I mean, this is fun. So, Mediaite...
Will somebody just get in contact with Kyle and tell him to change his stupid goddamn blue? Like, I mean, come on, look at it. Look at this. Like, can we seriously do this? Can someone get in contact with him and just tell him this already? Make it green, for fuck's sake. Because, like, bruh, with this flag in the background, it does not help at all. You somehow, like, trying to obscure it more with your body and your chair is not going to make it better.
Controversy here, y'all. I mean, this is fun. So, Mediaite has this headline: right-wing TV host.
I've noticed this. Like, he has obscured, like, the flag more with his chair and his head and body, more so, like, lately, in comparison in the past, where it was more obvious, because I think people have pointed it out. But instead of just changing the fucking color of the light, he's just hiding more behind it. It's like, come on, Kyle, just fucking hell.
He wasn't duped by fake Trump for a nearly 17-minute interview. So I'm going to play the video for you.
Wait, so this host insists that, no, this wasn't fake.
This is still up in the air. People are still debating whether or not this was really Trump or this wasn't Trump.
Wait, what?
So I guess the claim is somebody was using some sort of AI voice conversion therapy or something. Therapy? That's not the right word.
What the fuck? Okay, what? AI voice conversion therapy, dude. What the? Damn. Whoa, I've never heard that before. That's a new therapy. Damn.
AI voice conversion technology or something. I mean, we'll listen to it. I'll give you my take. I'm curious what you guys think.
Okay, that was a pretty funny slip.
So this right-wing media outlet had a 17-minute interview with somebody who they thought was Trump, and it might not actually be Trump. Let's listen and we'll determine ourselves.
That's what I don't understand. You have Republicans that are looking, if the money trail turns out to be what it is going to turn out to be, because I don't think, when you have all these corporations and you have all of these different methods of, even all the aliases, who ever heard of it?
This is fake. Oh my god, that is obvious. Like, dude, it sounds way too, like Trump is a lot more nasally. He has a lot more of a nasaliness. He's not that deep of a voice. I mean, he can sometimes, but yeah, still a bit of that nasaliness. I tell you what, there is a nasaliness to his voice. This is not the real Trump voice.
Aliases than Al Capone.
It kind of sounds like him, but it also doesn't sound like him. It's definitely.
I mean, it definitely sounds similar, but it's not him. Like, I mean, I've listened to enough Trump to know that isn't him, but like, it certainly is a good mimic voice. I'll give it that.
Distorted kind of voice. It's possible it is him, but he's like high as balls on Percocet or some sort of substance, or he just had some dental work done and he has Novocaine, so his jaw is all numbed up. So you're talking.
Okay, you're giving way too much of a benefit of the doubt here, Kyle.
Right off the bat, I'll just say, jump ball, 50-50. I have no idea. Like, it could.
Come on, Kyle.
Him, but it also doesn't sound like him, but it kind of does a little bit, but it doesn't a lot. I don't know. Let's keep listening.
I would think that, a fair person, because you want it to be fair, it has to be fair. A fair person, they weren't fair to me at all, by the way. That was just, you were told to impeach. The people, they didn't even know what they were voting for. But a fair person.
Yeah, this sounds similar to him, but this isn't him. This doesn't sound like completely like him. This isn't his exact voice.
You have no choice but to impeach. He's stolen money, and the $1 billion, that's a big statement. I mean, that statement, when I first heard that, I said, wow, that...
Like, you want to know why I know it ain't him? It's because Trump doesn't do that. Like, he has that, there's, like, moments of nasaliness that he does do, but, like, he doesn't do that shit. He doesn't talk with, like, his tongue partly, like, out of his mouth. Like, I mean, so, like, it definitely isn't him. Like, he definitely, like, what outlet is this? Oh, is that like One America's Voice or whatever the fuck? I've seen this outlet every now and then.
Really is a quid pro.
I don't know. So what's happening now is apparently, so Mediaite ran this headline. I don't know if other outlets covered it, but they reached out to the network, and the network responded and basically said, like, they doubled down. So the host, John Solomon, insisted, no, that was definitely Trump. I promise you that was Trump. You have some Trump Twitter accounts, like, related to his campaign that were sharing parts of the interview on Twitter/X. Either the head of the network or the host himself said, look, you can contact the campaign. The campaign will tell you that this was actually Trump. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're...
Well, have they confirmed it?
Trying to try to save themselves from the deep embarrassment of doing a 17-minute interview with somebody pretending to be Trump. I'll say this. If it is Trump, it doesn't sound enough like him to fully convince me. The first thing...
I mean, well, yeah, because honestly, I don't know if it's like anyone else that knows this, but every now and then he has a little bit of this with his nasaliness, even though he doesn't actually have this. It's like Trump doesn't actually have that, like, thing going on. Like, I mean... At least from my listening to him, like, whenever I hear Trump, I don't hear that. So, that's, like, the main, like, red flag to me that's like, no, that ain't him. Like, and if they're saying that the campaign can confirm it, then, I don't know, I guess it is, but then, like, what the fuck was he on? Like, if he was, I mean, so, I guess I'm willing to say there's like a 20% chance it could be him, but I'm like 80% certain that it isn't. Just because, like, there's certain things that just tick off as, like, that's not his usual, like, mannerism of speaking. Like, you know, so, I don't know. Like, there's a few things that kind of tick off as, like, it ain't him. You know, it's just somebody mimicking him. So, I don't know. Like, I'd say at least 80% it's not him, 20% it is. That would be my, my gumption there. I guess it would, you know, I would say it would be 100% him if, like, if his campaign actually confirms it, which, if they haven't said fucking Dickie McGee's axe, then, yeah, I'm pretty solid on my belief on this one.
Maybe it's Trump and it's like a bad internet connection, so it's coming through choppy and weird. But you listen back, and it's not like, it actually doesn't sound like a bad internet connection. It just sounds like Trump, but not Trump at the same time, which I mean, I think leads to Occam's razor that it probably is somebody pretending to be Trump using some voice-altering AI technology. Guys, this happened recently with Alex Jones. Alex Jones got a phone call from, was it Tucker got a phone call from somebody who he thought was Alex Jones, or Alex Jones got a phone call from somebody he thought was Tucker? It wasn't Tucker. I think that's it. I think Alex Jones got a phone call from somebody pretending to be Tucker and using some voice-altering technology. And it sounded like Tucker. And Alex Jones was duped by it for a while. And so clearly we have the ability to do this now, right? So, look, I'm leaning 60%.
I mean, we've always kind of had that type of shit. Because, like, I mean, back in, like, the 90s, they used to have, like, those, like, you know, phone call things where you can, like, try to get a song or something like that. But then be like, Bill Clinton will pop up and be like, I did not inhale, and you can also get more of this song, you know, from www.whatever the fuck, mp3.com, or some shit. Like, I mean, this stuff has been around for quite a while, honestly.
Of it's not Trump. The only thing that makes me reserve judgment just a little bit is that the network is, like, super confident, and they're basically saying, like, contact the Trump campaign, and they will tell you that it was them, you know?
Well, did anyone do that? Like, that's the thing. Like, if they're saying that, then, like, why didn't media follow up with that? Like, I mean, so I guess that's where I might have a little element of suspicion too, I guess. It's like, I mean, if it is actually him, then why wouldn't they just contact him and confirm that? I mean, so, like, I don't know. It certainly is odd.
Connections to the campaign, or else I would reach out to the campaign. Hey, is that it? I don't know, but here, I'm going to play it for you one more time so you get a sense of what's going on here.
What I don't understand, you have Republicans that are looking, if the money trail turns out to be what it is going to turn out to be, because I don't think, you know, when you have all these corporations and you have all of these different methods of...
Something's off about it, like the like base of Trump is there, like the building blocks of Trump, but there's just something that's a little off.
It's a little... Like, that's the problem. That's why I feel like it's not him.
All the aliases. Who ever heard of it? We got more aliases than Al Capone has.
It sounds like there's like a, you know, like, you know, if you did go to the dentist and you have like a little tissue in your mouth or something, like, it sounds like he has something like that in his mouth. I mean, if it is actually him, which, I don't know. Basically his campaign would have to confirm if this is real for me to think this is him.
I would think that, you know, a fair person, because you want it to be fair, it has to be fair. A fair person, they weren't fair to me at all, by the way. That was what you were told to impeach. The people, they didn't even know what they were voting for. But a fair person, you have no choice but to impeach. He's stolen money, and the $1 billion, that's a big statement. I mean, that statement, when I first heard...
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you know, like, it was like some 15-year-olds with, like, you know, like braces or some shit just trolling. That's what it sounds like to me, honestly. It sounds like Trump if he had braces. Like, or some shit, dude. Smoke pot at the waterfall on the bike trail. Oh, you're just right around the corner? Well, what the fuck, bro? The fuck, bro? Oh, you fucking fly. Come on, bitch. Man, this thing is just so fucking flimsy. I hate it. Where are you again, bitch? Oh, there it is. Come on. Damn it. I can never get a good fucking grip on this thing because it's so fucking flimsy. Anyway, I think we got it. Yeah, just in this one. We'll see Vosh's shit take on media. If it will load up. Load your ass up. Load it up.
Do you guys remember how
why the Simpsons sold up and it's better than Futurama. Wrong. Shit take.
For like a solid year and a half, that Spider Pig song from the Simpsons movie.
Yeah, because it's a meme. Yeah, hey, Vosh, it's called memes. Yeah, like some things. Yeah, like there's a lot of memes of the Simpsons. You know, so what? That doesn't necessarily make the show itself good.
Completely took over all culture. I don't know why. Like in retrospect, I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. It's like locked in everyone's mind. It was dumb and catchy. Yeah, but was it that catchy?
Wait, if you're saying the Simpsons was so good and you're criticizing it with this whole Spider Pig meme, then what the fuck do you... Wait, is he just gonna contradict himself? Oh my god, I'm about to get frustrated, am I?
Have you rewatched the movie recently? No, I just randomly found the, like, Homer saying that in my head. It's just weird how much of a lock that has, you know? I remember the Simpsons movie being pretty good, but I haven't seen it in ages. Can somebody remind
Is he talking about the movie specifically?
me? I kind of remember the Simpsons movie being like the last hurrah of good Simpsons. Like, it was good.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with, like, because the movie itself wasn't bad.
And it went downhill, and then for the movie, they, like, summoned their spirit together, their spirit bomb, and it was the last hurrah. Okay, well, that's pretty good, right? Like, I mean, it's better that than, like, being shit all the way to the end, you know? It was middling, nothing amazing or terrible, just mid. Maybe. I don't know. I watched a pretty good video on the downfall of The Simpsons recently. I think it was from that YouTuber who has the name and icon of that philosopher. Jonas Seika CCK Philosophy. There we go. Yeah, the class analysis of Joker and The Dark Knight. A Heideggerian analysis of Studio Ghibli's films. Jesus Christ.
Jesus, good lord, why that shit generally sounds pompous as fuck.
Oh, did they used to call themselves Cuck Philosophy? They did! This was Cuck Philosophy! Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. I thought that I was familiar with their stuff before I saw it, but I didn't remember the name. Okay, why did they change Cuck Philosophy? That's a good name. Anyway, yeah, The Simpsons...
I mean, it's definitely better than their new name.
It's a good video, very good video.
Whoever they are, I don't know.
Was Cuck Philosophy an anti-fan? Not really. I think that basically everybody above the age of, like, 25 is a big fan of the earlier seasons of The Simpsons. I
tend to agree. I like the early stuff of The Simpsons.
That a lot of people understand, like, how different it was to what was available at the time and how funny the earlier episodes were. I think the main thing that made this...
Alright, so far I'm not disagreeing with the take about The Simpsons so far. I mean, I think... I remember DFF did an episode on what the fuck happened to The Simpsons, and they pretty much had the same take. Like, their earlier seasonings... their early seasons up until, like... If I remember, I think they said around, like, season 6 to, like, 9, somewhere around there is when it fell off, but, like, beyond that, like, it was, It
was really, really, really funny.
Beyond that, it, like, fell off, but before that, it was good.
That there was an underlying sincerity that let them feel like they could just make 50 jokes a second and just keep rolling with it. Because, like, modern adult animated comedies they'll do the Family Guy thing where they'll make a joke and then they'll rub your face in it. Like, they'll make a joke, they'll build up to a joke, and then, like, you will all stare and you will laugh at the joke. And if you don't laugh at the joke, then God help you, because we are going to be here for a while on this joke. You know, Family Guy is infamous for it, but yeah, like The Simpsons would just do like 12 jokes in a row and not linger on any of them. It's very good. It's very good. The steamed hams bit is good even outside the meme. Yeah, maybe a lot of younger people watching are only familiar with the steamed hams bit, but like, the steamed hams bit, that's what all of early Simpsons was like. Like, the steamed hams...
Yeah, like, steamed hams was actually a good bit.
Bit is funny for the meme or whatever, but it's also like 20 jokes just in a row with like there's no like beat to pause, you know? Like, the Superintendent Chalmers and Principal Skinner will just be riffing back and forth, and there will be jokes in every set of lines, but they won't like even Rick and Morty does this. Rick and Morty is so pleased with it. Rick and Morty is pretty good with like the series of jokes in a row, but even then, Rick and Morty can't help but like rub your face in some of their super smart. Yeah, like they can't help but like
you have to have like 8,000 IQ to understand it, bro. Energy.
So self-aware, you know. It was literally the same as Futurama, but less sci-fi. I think people overstate.
Oh boy, here we go.
How good Futurama is. Now hold on.
Fuck you.
The good bits of Futurama are really, really good, but the good bits of Futurama were never as good as the best bits of The Simpsons.
What? What? Okay, that'd be a little bullshit. Like, I mean, that's bullshit. You have to at least say they are just as good. I mean, there are some that I'd argue that are actually better that hold up in comparison. Like, I mean, really?
Sometimes people talk about Futurama as like the better Simpsons, and that's not true.
Shut up. You're wrong. Wrong. Like, no. Like, the fucking virtue of the fact that, like, there are more seasons and the show's lasted for, what, just about as long, if not maybe maybe a little less long. But show's been around for about as long and shit, and like, and is more consistently, like when it comes to being good, or at least mid at best, or I guess at worst. And I mean, it's like, oh my god, the whole Fry's dog episode. Yeah, I mean, dude, that whole episode's fucking like yeah, dude. Or what was the one? Like the one where like she gets fucking stabbed by like the by the bee and stuff, where like, Fry gets like literally impaled, but he survives and shit because he didn't get the venom or whatever, and like had a kind of moment where like, oh shit, like, because I know they're like, those two had like a back and forth, romance and shit. It was actually pretty consistent throughout the show, and every time they actually played up that little bit of side plot, it was actually pretty fucking good. I remember a lot of different episodes where they would have like kind of the back and forth with the romance plot aspect of things. I mean, there's actually it's kind of hard to remember every little thing, but like, I mean, from what I do remember, everything's like more consistently at least like, all right, pretty good, or generally fucking like good. Like, I mean, The Simpsons, there's a lot that I could think I'm like, oh man, this is just trash. Like, I mean, like, The Simpsons just does not hold up as well. Like, I mean, there's way like less consistency with, the quality of the show. I mean, come on, Vosh, dude. I mean, really? My dude, my guy. Bad take. Take the L and seethe, my dude.
That's not true. Futurama's great.
The ending of Futurama was amazing. Fry and Leela stuck in a time loop, reliving everything over and over again. I mean, that's not necessarily totally amazing. I mean, that sounds kind of, at a certain point, a little dystopian and nightmarish.
But, like, I do not think that it ever topped the best of The Simpsons. Yeah, I know, Matt Groening made Futurama, I know. I mean, it's the same art style, I will say Simpson had higher highs, but Futurama is more consistent highs. I think I could agree with that, yeah, especially now that Simpsons has had, like, 5 trillion seasons, yeah. So you...
Okay, I mean, I can at least grant that. Like, Futurama has more consistent highs, while maybe The Simpsons, every now and then, will have, maybe, like, certain peaks that are good. But I wouldn't necessarily say that those peaks, are better than Futurama.
Futurama, you got me. You found out the hidden meaning.
Wait, what?
5 trillion seasons, yeah. So you hate Futurama? You got me. You found out the hidden meaning.
Yes.
Covertly contained within my statement, yeah. The Troy McClure bits... and the old Simpsons. Well, there's a lot. There's so many good bits all the time. What do you think of the take that The Simpsons is out of touch with it being a middle-class family where one job could afford 3 kids, 2 pets, 2 cars, the house wash? Or do you think that's... No, I think that's important, yeah. Because the whole point of The Simpsons was that it was supposed to be a satire of, like, the super pro-family, schmaltzy, overly sincere, conservative American sitcom. And in line with that, like, Homer has a good job, because he's like the safety inspector at the nuclear plant, so he can afford the house. The problem is, like, it's a sitcom, so they can't change the status quo. But ultimately, this is the problem with like cultural satire. The culture changed, so the stuff that The Simpsons is satirizing doesn't exist anymore.
And that's why, honestly, it's dropped off. Like, hey, Vosh, you kind of noticing why The Simpsons isn't, as good anymore? It doesn't really hold up as well. Because, honestly, it's easy to, change, due to the times in the status quo with something like Futurama, because it's not really, like, stuck, in a specific type of thing. When it comes to something like that. Family Guy's even better. I mean, honestly, I'd argue Family Guy probably does do the whole middle class, like, family thing a little better. Because, honestly, because Peter has money struggles. Yeah, the family, like off and on throughout the show, they do talk about having money struggles and shit sometimes. And, and that's in a lot of reasons why Peter gets up to a lot of the fucking shenanigans he gets into. I mean, so, like, yeah. I mean, in hell, like, I mean, even there's episodes where the kids, have jobs and are trying to, like, earn money and stuff. Like, they... Like, even though it has, like, the same structure, for the most part, I think Seth MacFarlane, in a way, does it a little better just because he made it so, like, they're a little bit more malleable to, this, kind of, like, more, changing of times thing. Because they, I think, in a way, are more tied to that working class family. Because, Peter had a brewery job and worked at, a brewery manufacturing company. And then, he lost his brewery job. Like, that's, like, in a way, outside of all the weird shenanigans Peter gets into, he is kind of like an archetype of, like, the struggling working class, like, dad, basically, right? Like, I mean, he's kind of like a archetype dad, because replace that brewery with, like, a lumber mill, or, like, or, like, a auto plant, or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, and it'd basically be the same thing. Like, so, he's, I think, fits better as an archetype, because who's Homer Simpson? He's the safety inspector at the nuclear plant. Like, not a lot of people who are working class really got jobs like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot more of a upper middle class type of job, and not a lot of people these days can relate to any of that. Like, I mean, and I think at least, despite, like, honestly, with the flaws of Family Guy, which there are a fuckload of them, and there are plenty, I think, at least... That's why in a weird way, I think it has somewhat still more cultural significance in a way, even though it's kind of in the same metric with, The Simpsons. I think at least they do kind of, are a little better about it, because they're more malleable to, adapt to, like, the changing of different, times, of, the paradigm. And Seth MacFarlane also is, like... like more progressively when it comes to a lot of his shows. I mean, Matt Groening, isn't any different, but I mean, in a sense, I mean, he's pretty progressive as well. But like, I mean, at least to a certain extent, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, or is it Mike Judge? One of the two, I forgot which. Isn't Matt Groening like more of a libertarian dude? I forget. They're both named like they both have M names, and whatever. Like so. Actually, if I remember, Matt Groening, I think, is not totally progressive. So, I mean, just because of his, like, general worldview, I mean, I think, that also has a role to play to it as well. I mean, but, I don't know, like, I forget if he's, like, more right-leaning or left. I forget. So, I kind of confuse some of these dudes every now and then. Never been great with names. If you haven't watched Orville, I recommend Fantastic Try. Yeah, I've been meaning to get around to it at some point. Orville gets another season. Fantastic Miss Comedy series sci-fi, something fun. Mr. Collins, lighthearted Star Trek captain. I mean, you could do it, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a cameo in the Star Trek show or something like that.
The same culture. And you can't change it, because then you're doing something different. Ultimately, you just can't keep a sitcom going for that long unless you're willing to change the status quo. Or, alternatively, if you're going to do a satirical sitcom that's meant to challenge the status quo, your characters have to be so out there to begin with that they can survive cultural changes and adapt to them. It's Always Sunny.
Which is also kind of like how Family Guy and Sunny in Philadelphia did it too.
Philadelphia. The characters are basically the same from beginning to end on a fundamental level, like excluding some early season weirdness in season 1. They maintain the same basic character traits, but they're so out there that culture will never reach a point where the behavior of the It's Always Sunny crew becomes socially acceptable. It's not possible. And they're willing to adapt and change. What about South Park? I've never been a South Park fan. I never have. South Park is allergic to sincerity. The worst thing you can do in South Park is care about anything. If you go into an episode of South Park having a sincere value on any issue associated with the episode,
I've never seen Always Sunny. I've never seen a lot of it, but I've seen a couple episodes.
show
You know, from what I've seen, it's a good show.
will make fun of you for it, and I think it's really lazy. I think that comedic writing is difficult, but I think that comedic writing that is also meaningful is even more difficult, and I think that, like, Stone and Parker are really good at comedic writing and really bad at comedic writing that's meaningful, because it's...
I mean, I don't totally disagree. I mean, yeah, like, because, I don't necessarily think he's wrong with his point. Though, at least for me, I kind of like the more slapstick stuff about, South Park and shit. Even some of the newest stuff. I mean, I don't know. I have a soft spot for South Park, but I'm not, like, a mega fan or, like, got to go out of my way to hyper defend it or some shit. Because, yeah, South Park's got a lot of episodes that are kind of shitty, and, and Stone and Parker, yeah, both of them they're not, like, exactly the, greatest dudes in the world and all that shit. Karen is dumb, just do whatever. Yeah, well, I mean, and every now and then I think it's fine. That's why I kind of have a soft spot for it, because whenever I'm in, like, let's just kind of, watch some dumb shit, who cares, vibe, like, I'll pull some of that shit. Libertarian dipshits, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, they're libertarian kind of dipshits, honestly. I mean, I can still, have some enjoyment out of their show, but, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to really necessarily go into it, trying to take something out of it. I mean, I could take, it being amusement and comical and stuff, which they're good at, but at least, to try to take something out of it, which, especially when it comes to generally good quality comedy, like, that's really hard to do. I mean, that's why, you got, like, certain comedians, like Carlin, or at least before he fell off, someone like Chappelle, who, did comedy really well. Tried watching Ahsoka and it was boring. Really? Damn. That's disappointing.
Like, so often all they have to say is like, look at me, I'm sniffing my own farts. I'm a comedy writer. And that's really annoying, The best episodes of The Simpsons from the earlier seasons, like, it was very obvious what points were being made in addition to the comedy. And I think that's much, much, much better than just making jokes. This is another issue with Rick and Morty as well. Because the first season of Rick and Morty, you have, like, this constant recurring comedic through line of Rick being self-destructive and self-hating and whatever. And then it's like, oh, wow, I wonder where they're going with this. Are we making a statement about how these, like, edgy, nihilistic, like, haha, look at me, I'm the Joker, baby, super smart protagonists are actually, like, completely miserable?
I'm the Joker, baby. Oh my god, he just reminded me of that guy. Holy fuck.
And we're actually gonna, like, lean into that. And it's like, nope, here's season 7. He's still doing the same thing. Like, nothing can change. It's a sitcom, so, yeah. Have you seen Disenchantment? I saw, like, 2 episodes. It was, didn't really...
I think I saw the pilot episode, and, because wasn't it on Netflix or something? And honestly, it didn't really hit me. Like, I mean, it was actually, I thought, like, that art style fit with it. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought there was some stuff that was kind of cool about it, but, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't get into it. Yeah, I mean, I tried to watch it myself. I mean, and there was some stuff that was, for me, like, I'd say that was kind of cool and shit like that. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, it didn't really hit me. Yeah, so I don't know things going on here. This fucking fly has returned. You bastard. They can't be the same fly. It likely is. Don't I live a week? Well, it's not the same one that's been buzzing around for days on end. I mean, it's just like, the one that's been buzzing around today. Here, let's see what little funny things are going on for tube. Let's see here. Padrona. What is this? Oh, I've seen this before. Why did you give me the short? We could, why'd you give me the short version of it? Because I know there's like a long form version of that video, and I'm pretty sure we've seen it. Here, actually, I saw this on Abandoned Hope.
October.
But here, yeah, October. Yeah, okay, yeah, DJ, have fun with that. Here, but this is funny.
Oh, get your tickets.
DJ Vegas.
One of the things that you guys submitted for this edition of Abandoned Hope is that there's this
Is Abandoned Hope tonight? No, that's Sundays. He's kind of changing it up a little bit. He's gonna do like more shorter episodes of Abandoned Hope, but do it every Sunday. Or at least that's his gonna be his attempt to do it. So pretty much like on Wednesdays, there might be an off chance there might be a ideology or like, you know, Fighting Boys or something like that. But Band of Hope seem like they're going to be every Sunday. At least that's, you know, his experiment for this month. That's what he said. Because he's using an AI to help set a schedule, I guess.
fella who is going to teach us how to not watch pornography. And he calls it cornography, I guess, because...
Corn!
To get around YouTube censorship. Very smart. He's always thinking.
Yes.
How to quit watching pornography. Let's find out.
How to quit watching pornography. I get this.
Oh my god, yes. Finally.
Hello, you am struggling with corn addiction. I can't tell you to my family. Please, anyone help me out how to quit? Wow. Wow, grammar is definitely not this guy's forte.
Finally, I can be free. Hello, you am struggling with corn addiction. I can't tell to my family. Anyone please help me out on how to quit.
Question all the time.
How to stop watching corn, sad.
It's really easy to quit. You just can't because you don't want to.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's like, oh, the reason why you can't stop watching corn is because you just don't want to, bruh. You just don't want to stop. You're just inclined to forever be stuck watching it forever because you just don't want to stop.
A generated he's got going on. Like, you couldn't find actual like images to put here.
And I can guarantee you this. If you're someone who watches it, you don't have your life in order.
What? Yep. The reason why your life is not in order is because of prawn, bro.
Not the kind of dude that watches.
Yep, it's big fat dudes and also like disheveled homeless guys, I guess, that are AI generated.
Like a homeless guy. All disheveled on the street. Like,
Because if you're fit and hitting the gym regularly, if you have your finance in order, if you have a good woman by your side, if you had a strong mindset, you wouldn't be so addicted to the 5 seconds pleasure, which damages your brain forever.
there's
What? No, there's no like evidence or proof or anything to that at all. And basically, the way to stop, you know, like watching porn is basically just hit the gym, bruh, and like just be strong, bruh, and have a bitch, bruh. Like, I mean, wow, I didn't realize it was that easy, dude.
really no evidence that watching damages your brain. The worst effect of porn on people's brains is that it can kind of mess with like dopamine levels. It can make it a little bit harder to actually get like sexually excited in like a real life situation. So there is that. But a lot of these other things that tend to get attributed are pretty fallacious and mostly kind of rooted in like
Christian bullshit.
Abrahamic religion, whether it be, you know, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, this sort of like fear and hatred of sex that they have going on. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that it's not just, take it from me, a big fat guy. It's not just a bunch of big fat guys watching porn. It's not just a bunch of like sad sacks that weigh 600 pounds parking in front of their computer or sitting up with their phone, you know, spanking the monkey or something. It's pretty much everybody, you know, it's...
Yeah, most people tend to watch it as, you know, one way or another at some point. I mean, and there's nothing really wrong with it. Like, essentially the only time where I'd probably argue, or I'd add an asterisk to TJ's point about it, is that, like, there are people out there that can essentially, like, let it be something that they kind of consume them, where they're, like, you know, every day busting, like, you know, 1,000 nuts, you know, just, like, watching porn shit. Like, I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen, because it does. But it's not exactly, you know, the most common thing. It's not like it's some plague on society or some shit. Like, I mean, most people, you know, might, like, I'd argue probably watch it on, like, you know, maybe on, like, a weekly occurrence or something. I mean, you might get, like, some people that might watch it, like, you know, once a day or something, you know, whatever. Like, you know, to take care of the morning wood or some shit. Like, you know, it's like, you know, you get, you know, situations like that, you know, but beyond that, that's not because, like, there's some problem or some shit. If anything, like, I mean, it's usually because, like, it's just a little bit of relief and feels nice. I mean, so I don't know. Like, I mean, it's not like some like insane issue outside of the fact that, like, there are some people that might make it a problem, you know. But beyond that, it's not a big deal.
Guys, fat, skinny, muscular, whatever, single, married. In fact, increasingly, it's a lot of women, too. Like, the numbers of women who watch porn are not that much lower than the number of guys that watch porn.
And if anything, there's, like, more of them that are, like, doing it on their own accord, and they're, like, doing it more, like, on an amateur status instead of doing so professionally.
Porn. So, I mean, this whole thing is kind of ridiculous. I mean, if this video is intended to actually provide people with some kind of, like, education on the topic, it completely fails. Because it basically just says, like, if you want to stop watching porn, quit being such a beta loser. And by the way, what are the odds that the guy making this video doesn't watch any porn?
You know,
he watches porn, dude.
I mean, you know, this dude, like, you know, is probably, you know, spanking a monkey more so in comparison to other people just because of the virtue that he's, you know, making it such a big deal and is so insecure about it. Like, I guarantee you that he probably watches it more than the average person.
Most people do. I would say, other than people who are, like, asexual, everybody's watching some pornography sometimes.
And I honestly would argue that there's probably asexual people every now and then that probably do it, you know, occasionally. Just nowhere near as much as, you know, anyone else.
You're so addicted to porn because you are a loser right now, so stop.
You're not really, like...
I love these, like, weird, like, AI-generated things that they're using, and I like how it's like, oh, the reason why you watch this is because you're a loser, this and that. You're just, like, you know, just addicted to it, and it destroyed your, you know, dopamine and everything, and it destroyed it forever. And all you have to do is just have a strong mindset to redeem it, bruh. Don't be such a beta loser. Like, DJ was seriously, like, on point with that, dude. It's just like, don't be such a loser, bitch. That's how you stop.
You're addicted to porn. You're not addicted to porn. You are biologically programmed to want to and be horny and spread your seed and so on and so forth. And pornography just happens to be an outlet for that. It's not like creating this need. It's like saying you're addicted to food, which I guess people do say, but it's based upon a very visceral, raw need, like you need to eat. It's just that now we've figured out how to create all this, like, super tantalizing food that's not great for you. Because in nature, like, you know, when you're just out there in the woods being hunter-gatherer, in nature it's really hard to find sources that are, like, rich in sugar, rich in fat, you know, rich in salt. But now, thanks to modern industry and, you know, advancements in, you know, food science and food production and all that stuff, like, now that's on demand. Just like you have a natural inclination to bone. But now there's all this different stuff that can titillate you in all these new and different and exciting ways. We're like, if anything, we're just kind of the victims of our own genius on this. humanity has created enticements so enticing that we can just get lost in the abyss of them.
I mean,
And that-
I kind of want to at least add a little point to this. It's like, because while obviously these are, in a way, like kind of like basic needs of, people and shit, they tend to be exploited, when it comes to these type of needs by, the system and the paradigm that we have, in this situation. Because like a lot of things, such as, food stuff end up becoming more like comfort foods. And it's, people use, a lot of various different, things like foods, for those needs, where they don't necessarily need to eat or anything like that as a necessity, but just do so because of like some sort of stress relief or comfort or whatever the fuck. On top of that, there's, the same thing for when it comes to like porn and shit as well. I mean, it's like, in a way it can be exploited as more or less as just like an outlet, more so than just, as just, instead of like more of a casual thing or something, it can be more or less, used as, exploitive, that takes advantage of the fact that, someone might use that as an outlet. I mean, in a sense that they, being the person that, use that outlet, as this, in the escapism that they're using for whatever reason it might be, like, it, it's, I mean, those type of things end up being kind of like, the, issue about it. Like, I mean, obviously, these, in a way, are just, like, kind of biologically wired for, in us to an extent, but we could still try to, like, like help and temper, people that might, like have problems about trying to, deal with those type of things, when it comes to like, addiction, or when it comes to, using it as a crutch or whatever the fuck else.
A lot more of a compelling and interesting thing to say than just, if you jerk off to corn, you're a loser. I mean, I would never jerk off to corn. I mean, Jonathan Davis has a pretty voice, but it's not pretty like that. Come on. But then again, what do I know? Because me saying this will inevitably get way less views than this guy coming out here and peddling this ridiculous fake advice. It's not even advice at all.
If anything, it's just like talking down, being like, fuck you for watching porn, you're a loser, I don't, lol. Which honestly just kind of shows the projection of the dude making the video. Like, of his weird, dumbass little AI illustrations to boot. Like, I mean, because, I mean, it just shows that this dude is, like, as soon as he was done making this video and uploading it, the first thing that he went to right afterwards was Pornhub. Guarantee you, and I guarantee you it was probably like some weird, BDSM, trans, dominatrix, spank bank shit or something like that. I mean, like, I guarantee you, like, that's probably what he's looking up. Like, there ain't no fucking shot. He absolutely is, like, getting himself off, like, every time, he posts a video. It's like, oh, yes, now to finish up the satisfaction of telling these people they're idiots and losers, now I should be one myself.
To come out to people and be like, hey, the solution to your problem is to just, like, be cool.
Well, semi-Islami and ignores all. Well, why don't you quit being such a beta loser and have a strong mindset and hit the gym, bruh? Instead of just, being addicted to prawn and corn and then just, like, like fucking having your mindset destroyed, bruh. What the fuck, bro?
Quit being a beta and start being an alpha.
Quit being a beta, be alpha, bruh.
That's not a solution. That's nothing. But, it makes them feel good. It makes a bunch of people be like, yeah, bunch of betas jerking off. I mean, I do it sometimes, but, I'm not a beta, though.
Stop being a loser and start improving every aspect of your life.
Stop being a loser and start improving every aspect of your life. I mean, like, okay, so what if you go to the gym? Here's my follow-up question to this guy. So let's say you go to the gym, you get your finances in order, you get a steady girlfriend, you do all that stuff, and then at the end of that road, you still want to look at some porn every now and then. What do you do then? Is it acceptable then because all your shit's in order? Or is it still bad?
When you do that, you would not feel the need to watch porn.
Well, what if you did? Yeah, and I love the stupid AI that they use throughout that. I mean, like I said, I used ChatGPT to help me develop a schedule for myself, and I mean, I've seen some cool AI here and there. I mean, I've seen some really cool stuff done with AI, but I've also seen a lot of really corny, lame stuff done with AI, and that was among them. just berating his followers. Yeah, like, imagine going to someone for help, and that's their advice. Like, hey,
just beratement. I mean, honestly, that like how to like. I mean, it really just kind of shows how sad some of these weirdos are. Like, honestly, when it comes to this, like, they feel so insecure over the fact about their sexuality or the fact that they just bust it to porn or something like that. Like, they have this need to just like get berated and like talked down to and assaulted and basically bullied, you know, for the fact that they do, in hopes that that changes their mind or something. It's just so fucking ridiculous. It's weird.
Like your guru, you know, and you go to him. It's like, man, I really struggle with porn addiction. What can I do? And his advice back, he's like, stop being a little mother. I don't know what accent I'm doing for him, but you know, that's it. It's like, if you were awesome, muscular Chad, alpha male, and you had a girlfriend and lots of money, then you wouldn't need porn. So get on top of that. Like, would you feel like you've been given good advice?
Damn, that got my dog going off. Hey, that was just TJ. Okay, shut up.
I wouldn't even feel like I'd been given advice at all. Basically, just like, stop being a loser, bro.
I mean, hey, you know, it was sound advice. I know what you're talking about, TJ. You know what I say to you, TJ? Oh my god, that's a good pause. Good frame to pause them on. But you want to know what I say? No, oh. Dude, that is like the most soy jack face of TJ I think we've ever paused them on, dude. Oh my god, these are too good. Oh my lord.
Wow, thank you. So insightful. What a genius. Step 1, improve literally every aspect of your life. Step 2, stop jerking it to porn. Step 3, you're done.
That's it.
Give me some money, maybe.
My god. Man, dude, these manosphere weirdos are so interesting. Man, like, scientists and shit, like, in the next, like, 50 years are gonna be, like, looking at society and being, like, doing, like, weird social, like, psychological studies of, like, some of these weird niche freaks. And probably, like, have, like, new, like, neurological, like, studies on, like, you know, like, on, like, different diagnoses and shit. I God love it. God love to hate it. Oh my lord. My dog's got his legs like spread out like this and just showing off everything like a little fucking weirdo. He looked at me as soon as I said weird. I was like, what? I didn't do anything. Come back there. Hey, I was thinking about grabbing myself a little bit of lunch here, but before I go, I was gonna go check out things outside. Maybe see if the key's back or what Squirrel's doing, or if I caught that rat or not. Hope I caught the rat. Here, I'll do this real quick. Let's go there. Now go out this way. Oh my god, of course the dog is following me. Hey, up. Oh, or something. Is there a squirrel over there? Yeah, probably not. Nope. I know what I'll do here real quick. What did I do? Yeah, there's my nuts. I have some nuts over there. I'm gonna have separation out there. I'll tell you what there now. Oh Lord. Oh Lord of mercy. I still haven't shown up over here yet. Here, I'll do this. It's kind of... I think these crows are aware that I'm out here. Oof. Yeah. Oh, my little spots. Stop feeding the local wildlife. What do you mean stop feeding the local wildlife? I can feed them all I want, damn it. Oh shit, feels not touching got stuck up on that. Up in the branch. Maybe that'll be something for the birds to get. Shut off! Okay, go. Get the last little bit right here. Aw, a pretty girl. Neighbor's little doggo's just chilling out outside. Well, I don't know. Where's the guy go? Alright, he's still hanging out over there. Hey, Goof. Hey, bub. Hey, old there, bud. Hey, bub. Hello, puppy. Who's a puppy? Yes, yes, yes. Who's a pup? Who's a pup? He's a pup. Come on. Come on. Come on. He leaves the bones. Come on. Come on. My God, you leaves the bones. You just like hanging out instead these days. Boop. Now what? Come on. Bump. You goof. Come on. Come on. You are such a goof. You're so stubborn. My Lord. You are a stubborn, silly little boy. Yes, you is. Yes, you is. You is a stubborn boy. You is a stubborn boy. Ah, stubborn boy. Little goof. There we go. Ugh. Well, hopefully, I'll be able to catch one of those rats. I don't know if I told you, but I mentioned it at least, maybe once or twice on stream, but I accidentally once caught a fucking squirrel in one of those live traps unintentionally. And the poor little guy was freaking the fuck out. And, so I kind of sat there for a second, just, being like, oh, hey, buddy, it's okay. Doing that, just being kind of, casual and chill. And eventually it kind of calmed down and sat in the corner, just kind of sitting there staring at me. And I, lifted up the trap part of it. But that squirrel was pissed. That squirrel was not happy at all. And eventually that squirrel, kind of made his little way, kind of walked, right out of the trap. And as soon as he realized that he can get out of the actual trap itself, he just just zooped right out. Though I did notice that the squirrel was hanging out on a branch, just kind of checking me out afterwards, being like, okay, I guess he didn't go after me or, or anything like that. So I guess I'm good. So Hopefully that actually in a weird way was a silver lining to kind of let the squirrel know that, like, obviously I'm not hostile to it, and I, released it and, made sure, it didn't accidentally get caught or anything like that unintentionally again. I moved to live trap now at this point, so hopefully, I don't have the squirrel accidentally going in there again. I mean, they're still hanging out doing their thing, but I've noticed that, they are probably not going to be doing that to bring you treasure like crows. I mean, I wish. I think the crows around here every now and then have brought things back, and, so I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the crows actually do pick things up and bring them back. Because a lot of them will notice me, when I, like, bring my nuts out and shit, like you were kind of hearing them earlier. And they were visible, to the point where they could see me and I could see them. So it's like, they, certainly recognize, me being there and, probably do bring things back. Because, I think they're the ones that have the nest that's in my tree up there. So, because I know they had, like, a little baby at one point. I think Mornox pointed it out at some point. Oh my fucking god, this is the thing that exists out there. Bruh. What the fuck, dude? I've seen some, like, Trump trucks, but this is new. That's new. This is, what the fuck, dude? Oh my god. That's just, wow. Is that a Lambo? What the fuck is that? Who cares? Oh my god, that needs to be torched. Holy shit, wow. How much debt do you think the person went into to get that? Or better yet, how much you want to bet that's a way to do tax evasion? Because I guarantee you it's a way to do tax evasion. DP's interviewing Monday Matt again. Oh, Matt Jarbo. Didn't he make, like, some weird, like, horror movie or something? Hey. Able. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think Paul watched, like, a movie commentary of that. I think it was on one of his ideologies back in the day, which is no longer available if I... This where he started as the porn star. Oh, yeah, like where he was... Oh, yeah, I remember. So that movie is so nerdy and dorky. But, for what it was, it actually wasn't that terrible. It's in the hub. Wait. There's... Okay. I did not know that. Hey. Oi, Bob. Bubble. Come here, bub. Still to his head. Come here. You're a goof. Whatever. Fuck you. He certainly has a carrot. I don't need to know that. I don't know. I don't need to know any of that information. Not exactly all about that. Okay. See if there's like one more thing we can look at too, but at least in the meantime. Let's see here. What type of stuff the mouth down? Doesn't too much at least. Boo. Oh, you know what? Actually, I remember this crazy fucking story. Now that I just thought about it. Here, hold on. I know where I need to find it though, so I'll find that really quick. But it's because I'm not even kidding. Like a few days ago, like on a stream, I don't know if it was like one of my afternoon ones or one like in one of my late night ones, but like one of my streams like 3 or 4 streams ago or some shit. I dead ass just like, man, I'm kind of glad this whole like gender reveal party shit's kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit, and thinking, all right, cool, like it was a crazy weird little fad that a bunch of weird freaks got into for a second, but no, fucking shit you not, there's an insane fucking story that tops off a lot of these other ones, outside of like the wildfire one or some shit.
Hug my dog.
Hug my dog, bow, bow, bow. Here, let me find it. Oh, here it is. Found a story. Saw a gender reveal last night on CNN. Well, you want to see a more wilder one, or is it this one?
A pilot killed this weekend after a small plane went down during a gender reveal party in Mexico.
These just keep ramping up, dude. We need to stop. This has got to stop, dude. Why was there a plane involved in a gender reveal?
Yeah, look at
dude, I mean, bruh. Like, I mean, this shit's going too far, bro. A fucking plane.
Shit.
Plane crashed seconds after it flew over the expectant parents, releasing a cloud of pink smoke. One of his wings appeared to collapse before the plane fell to the ground.
It looks like he tried to pull up too sharply.
Which, yeah, that's what happened. Like, he was really low to the ground, and because he dumped all that, like, puff of cloud smoke, and, and tried to take such a sharp pull up, from such a low altitude, it probably, like, didn't have enough, like, windage below, to actually, like, kind of help, keep the airflow, like, keep, the plane moving up. So it basically just hit, like, that wing basically just hit, like, a block of just air, and it just, like, it just folded in on itself.
What's next?
Which, depending on the speed of the plane, too, probably, plays a factor. Maybe the plane was going too fast as well. Like, it probably should have been more slower.
Gender reveal bomb. We have
They've already done that.
We have a hydrogen bomb we're going to drop over the crowd.
Yeah. It's like, we have now made an atomic bomb, that's going to, explode in either blue or pink.
There's been gender reveal explosives that have gone awry. There has been a giant gender reveal forest fire. And now a gender reveal plane crash.
Dude, there was these fucking people I read about recently that they did a gender reveal where they, like, they dyed a waterfall the color and like released a bunch of dye into a town's only water supply. And so everyone down from the town had like fucking pink water or whatever the fuck. And it was like,
oh my fucking god! What? No! This needs to stop. It's time to stop. It's time to stop right now. Like, oh my fucking god. What? I didn't even hear that part of the story. No way. No, what? No. Okay, hold on. There's no fucking way. I'm gonna look that up. What? Fucking what? Oh my god. It was last year. It was last year. It was in Brazil. Does it want to load? Does it want to load? There we go. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. It's a boy and a fine. How about prison? I mean, what the fuck? Say, waterfall feeds into rivers. There's a water. Yeah, this is the story. Since been deleted off, it shows a moment the waterfall turned blue to indicate they are expecting a boy. Oh my god. So what? Oh my god, dude. This is just what the. Okay, yeah. Can we have international laws on this?
Fuck you! You know what I mean? Like, what a failure of humanity. Can we fucking poison a water supply so someone can be like, it's a girl, it's a boy? It's like, who fucking cares?
And it's also, I guess, a fine for, like, putting a bunch of chemicals in people's water supply, you fucking psychos. I mean, my lord. And the parents for this story here, for the pilot being killed, should be charged with, like, you know, like manslaughter or something, honestly. They should be charged with, like kind of being complicit in the pilot's death, because the pilot wouldn't have died if they didn't do this stupid fucking stunt.
And at this point in fucking human history, how do you even fucking know that, bitch?
I mean, dude, if you want to do that,
so many people are fucking deciding to reject their fucking gender identity or fucking
what's wrong with
go outside of it now. So, like, what are you even fucking revealing?
No fucking shit. This shit's so fucking obsolete. It would make more sense to call it like a sex reveal party, but that also sounds a little weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's so obsolete, outmoded, and it's just stupid. And also, yeah, you don't know, like, what your kid's gender is going to be and shit. I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous.
Well, even if you want to say you're the sex of the child, like, what's wrong with fucking cutting into a cake and it's like, it's a pink cake, it's a blue cake.
It's just main character syndrome gone awry.
I want the most elaborate gender reveal because I've seen them on social media and it's so cool and it's
I'm not
really
against,
big and
like,
crazy.
I'm not against, like, a small one, but going to the point you're gonna dye a town's water supply, that's, or set off a bomb or a plane, it's like, who? I just don't get it.
I mean, I guess if you want to do, like, a cute little gender reveal, like, within reason or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, blue confetti or something.
Like, oh, I'm going to pop the thing and it's going to show, we're going to light the candle and the flame is going to be the color or whatever the fuck.
Or, like, you know, those little, like, you know, TNT smoke bombs, like those little round ones? Get, like, a little bundle of those. And then, like, you know, have them, like, in some sort of, like, container where you light the fuse, and then just, like, you know, let it, like, have this little box, you know, plume up a bunch of smoke, whether blue or pink. I mean, it's like, come on. Like, I'm pretty sure there's, like, a lot of, you know, ways to address, you know, that type of shit where it doesn't involve death or destruction.
If it's something like that, I guess, whatever, fucking, I still don't get it, I think it's stupid, whatever. For this fucking shit, I'm gonna fucking set off an explosive, there's gonna be fucking all this crazy shit, we're gonna fucking pick
There's gonna be planes doing stunts.
Tons of people have died, literally revealing the gender of a child. It's absurd.
Yeah, and this is like the reason I know it's main character syndrome is because nobody cares but them. Like it's this assumption that like whether or not your child has a male or female sex characteristics really only matters to you. What? Nobody, like everybody else at best, you get, oh, it's a girl, yay, oh, it's a boy, yay.
Yeah, that's about it.
Like they don't give a fuck one way or the other.
Wow.
You
having a son, sounds good. Good for you, man. Wow.
That's all it should be. You don't need a fucking goddamn flyover.
Yeah, another person dead. 32.
But, you know, hey, like, I want to make sure that I have, like, the most pizzazzy gender reveal. I mean, come on.
By the way. Community horrified by plan to burn tires to produce Bitcoin.
And that's the
I can't
thing.
even believe that people be allowed to burn tires. A Pennsylvania crypto company wants to burn tires to fuel Bitcoin mining, and community members from the area. You know what? Just fucking no. I'm not even.
No, yeah. Like, I mean, like, dude, crypto has gone too far. They're burning tires for crypto. Like, jail. In fact, nah, Nuremberg. You get the Nuremberg treatment for that shit. Like, dude, these people are insane. Like, oh my god. Like, like, these crypto bros have gone fucking psychotic.
Fucking, you just think let them do it? Because
Just let them do it at this point.
Paul's just like, fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'm gonna go the opposite way and say, fucking, bring out. Who was it earlier that was talking about bringing out a guillotine? Can we just bring that over here?
Can we just like roll that over there? Yeah.
I think I fucking found some test cases for it. For fucking Bitcoin.
Crypto bros, dude.
Oh. Yeah.
Never once.
Fire for fucking Bitcoin, man. Paul's just giving up.
I'm
Paul's like, I'm done with that. Fuck it. Burn it. Kill it all.
It's what we deserve at this point.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, gotta burn some tires for crypto, baby. Let's go. I mean, it's like, good lord, dude. It's one thing for them to do their stupid, weird little mining things, which are already bad enough as it is, but like to burn fucking tires. Usually companions aggressively horny. Baldur's Gate just seems like an excuse to make a porn game, from what you're describing it. Like, it's just like, what the fuck? I do 3 things and they won't rate me. Oh my god! Holy shit, dude. Why are you complaining? Cool mutt. Trying to commit to one ending? Ah. Well. Assuming I'll go from a goddess. Well, just make another character on the side to where you can exploit all their, interests to just, like, go full fuck mode on you, I guess. Right here. At least call it good for now. But I'll be back a little later this evening. Demon Girl's gonna explode eventually. Yeah, she's just gonna eventually just like unconsensually just like assault you. In every sexual way possible. So, have fun with that. But, you know, I get myself some lunch and do a couple errands and all that fun shit, so. Peace out. And I'll see you all on that next one later tonight. All that fun stuff, so.